Hello, I'm Gina Denn, artist in residence at the Greenbelt Community Center for Greenbelt, Maryland. And this is my studio tour. I'm going to reverse the camera. Wait, first I'll go like this so it's pointing at neat stuff. All right, and Mary, my studio mate, is holding the camera. So since the last time I did a studio tour, I have a few more things I can show you. This is fresh out of the kiln in a commission. I do a lot of these teapots with octopus lid handles, and someone asked for one that was deep blue with a yellow octopus, so there's that one. It came out really good, I think. And last time I did this video, did a studio tour, I had this was unglazed, and I really like it. It's a very light, and the first time I glazed it, the glaze came out all wrong, and I glazed it again, put more glaze on it, and fired again, and I really like it now. It's got a nice little drip there, and it pours really well, like out of that little hole. So I like that one a lot. I think also I hadn't glazed this jar head. So this is something I made when I think I was in the sculpture class last fall, and that's finished now. And he's got little holes in his ears. You could hang earrings and put other things inside the head. I went to the kiln room and looked in the kiln and pulled out this today, and that's some glaze experimenting I did. Some commercial glazes. Came out kind of fun. And these two mugs, oh, Mary's still showing it. Thank you, Mary. These two mugs are also recently out of the kiln. They're big mugs, and I did just some of the studio glazes. This is variegated blue, this is tan gloss, and then I put little dots of another glaze called Moss Thicket, I think, and it's a glaze that is just a jar old glaze that someone donated to the studio, and it did that really neat thing. I really like how that came out. This is also that Moss Thicket down here, and I think tan gloss on top of that or under it, on a speckled clay. This is another one, commercial glaze as well. That's our studio tan gloss inside. And I just played around with this big bowl I made. I carved these things, and I thought it'd be fun if they were different colors. So that's the Moss Thicket, and that's Pansy Purple. Big bowl. I don't know if I showed this last time. This is just another octopus thing. So, you know, I do a lot of octopus things. And this is another octopus inspired by my Octopus Teacher documentary on Netflix. And so this octopus is reaching out to you, and that's for sale. I think all these things are. Up here I have this nice hand-built jar. This was like the first one I made, and it was a little less refined than this one, but this one came out quite nice, I thought. And let's see, what else is new? I think this teapot also has been glazed since last time. If we go lower, I can show this casserole, which is not for sale because the base is broken. It's split. It's a big crack. But the lid I might be able to sell as a wall-mounted thing or something. So that's just that. I don't know what that white is. Okay. All right. And here's kind of a free-form bowl that I made, and that's a combination of some of our studio glazes that I really like to do. It comes out nice and purple, Oribe and June Perry red. Okay, do I have anything else interesting over here? Some porcelain mugs, kind of like the ones I made and sold at holiday time. I was having a hard time recreating them, and then I realized I did the glazes in the wrong order because they have both turquoise matte and weathered bronze green on them. Did them in the wrong order a few times. Oh, and this piece is kind of fun. I made this over 10 years ago. I don't know, the date's on the back or something. And I never glazed it until very recently. And I really like how it came out. Over here, let's see if I have anything. So, right, last time I did this, I was in the middle of the sculpture class, and since on the inside, so actually Mary gave me that glaze to use because it was one she wasn't using anymore. And then I tried to put water in it just in case someone used it as a vase, and it made this, you can see that little bit of yellow around the top edge. That's from the glaze, but the water kind of would seep through because it's not vitreous, and it turned.
If they can't hear you, say something.
Yeah, if you can't hear me, please say something because there's a weird microphone button sort of going on and off in the corner. Is anybody watching?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hear me or not? No reactions? So maybe they can't hear. Can I look at this for a second? Sorry about this. Oh, it's not doing it anymore.
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, I want to make more of these, and hopefully I will at some point. But it's at another point I was just playing around with a little scrap of white clay, little loafers, and I made this little one.
We can hear you now.
Oh, okay. So you couldn't hear me for a bit. Well, that's fine. If you have any questions, just ask. So I made that one, and I'm hopefully going to make a few more of those figures at some point. So.
As you're going in and out.
Huh. All right. Well, any questions I'll try to answer when you can hear me. So this is a piece, a series, not really a series of pieces, but a technique I learned and I taught to my Zoom hand building classes in the last few sessions. And so I've made a few of them. I had another one that I sold, and it's kind of fun. I like to make them. There's kind of elegant plate, and they're not that hard to make. And then I wanted to show you the way I glazed this one, because it was a technique I never done before, and I just tried recently, where the glaze is just our satin white glaze, and then I painted over it with underglaze, with actually these watercolor underglaze that I borrowed from our studio manager. But I think you might be able to do it with regular underglaze too. Just paint on top of the glaze, and there's a couple tiny rough spots, but for the most part it's nice and smooth. So that's a neat way I learned I can decorate pieces. Let's look at these. I thought of showing these, but Mary's a master at painting with underglazes, but I'm not as experienced, and I had a couple of failures here where this jar got much too dark, and in these areas where I used underglaze, I didn't want them that dark. The air came out good, I think, and the fire also. I like those. So I still like this jar, but I might try to do some things to try to fix how dark these sides are. And then this octopus plate, the plate itself is a little warped because it was in a mold and I pulled it out too soon. And then this underglaze I put on thick so it would show, but it came out rough. It's sticking out through the glaze, so it's not usable as a plate, but just as a decoration. Any comments or questions?
Just no questions.
Okay. So last time I did this tour, I believe, I was working on this sculpture, or it was just done, but it hadn't been glazed yet. And I've been working on trying to figure out how I'm going to glaze it. This is that same Sol Date clay, so it doesn't look good bare at cone 6 when it's fired to cone 6. Here's an example. This edge right here, it's rough and it's kind of this weird yellow color, and I didn't want her to look like that. And I was a little afraid to put it like in a wood fire, which I could have done recently, but these hairs are very delicate. In fact, they pulled out and spaced out more when in the bisque firing, so they were closer together, but sticking out like that, I was afraid they would get knocked off if I did a rough firing like that. So I've been trying to figure out a way to cover it completely with glazes and make it look good. So I made this little test piece to try to test when I finally figure out what I was going to use. And I didn't even like how that came out. So I had bought this glaze called hazelnut, I think, and it didn't look good on there. So I tested it over an underglaze. So this part right here is an underglaze called teddy bear brown, and then I put the hazelnut over it. But I also put clear over here, and I decided that looks even better. So I did another test with the teddy bear brown underglaze. Then I put clear over here, and I put satin clear over here, and I decided that's what I'm going to use for her skin. And so it's been painted with the teddy bear brown underglaze, and I'm going to put the satin clear over that. I'm going to put this glaze on the edge. I don't know if you can see it that well. It's called Saturation Gold. It's also here. I'm going to put that on the dress, and then the black matte glaze over black underglaze for the hair. So that's why her face is all painted, and it's pretty hard to like paint, you know, these hairs without getting on her shoulders and vice versa. So it's slow going with this, and I still have to paint glaze all over that. And then I just recently thought of trying something else with some of my little octopus sculptures. I had the idea that like a dichroic glass eye would look very cool, because dichroic glass has that same sort of depth of field, and when you look at it as an octopus eye. So while I was looking online for something like that, I found these less exciting but still pretty cool looking little glass eyes. It's just a paper printout with a glass bead on top, and these will be glued on to these after they're fired and glaze fired. And so I'll leave those spaces where I just stuck these eyes to see how they would look. But and they've got some white clay on them, so they don't look that great right now. But once these guys are fired and glazed, I'll just glue these eyes on. And I can only do that with a sculptural piece, because you don't want something like that on like a teapot that you're gonna wash or whatever. And I think I'm about out of time. So,
You got 2 minutes.
all right, let's just look over here real quick at my messy wheel area. So I didn't get around to cleaning these yet for the studio tour, but this is where I throw pots. And this is our windows that look out on trees covered with cicadas. And I think that's about it.
Okay.
About out of time.